your contract being released the other day, talked about agreed upon metrics that you have to achieve next year. What are those?
Yeah, those are just making sure we get on the right track and get winning. And I don't want to say much more than that, but it's obvious what we need to get done here. And I think it doesn't take too smart a guy to figure that out.
How did the guys come back today as you prepare for a game now, kind of with a lot of changes on the coaching staff?
Good. Approached the day well. There was a lot of energy. This is a high character team. If it wasn't, they wouldn't have fought as hard as they fought all year long. So I don't expect anything different. We're going to be short a couple pieces and we're short some coaches, but the guys will rally together.
Is Isaac Gifford next up for the JoJo? Do you need multiple guys to fill that? How do you feel about that kind of as you go through the last 2 games?
Yeah, probably multiple guys. Depending on what personnel group the other team's into, it could change, and depending on what type of body we need in there. But there's several guys that are going to have to be ready to go.
What have you seen out of Isaac, in his first couple of years in the program that, gives you some confidence as he steps into a bigger piece?
He's a grown-up. He's tough. He's done a good job coming in and learning, and he's a really good athlete. So he's got bright days ahead of him in football, and some we're going to have to start now.
How does having a bye week for an opponent like Wisconsin sort of help your preparation against the team that's won 6 straight?
Yeah, they're hot right now. I can't compliment them enough. I haven't watched a ton of their offense yet, more of their defense, but Coach Leonard does an unbelievable job with them. It's hard to find holes in what they do, really hard to scheme them because they do a lot of things. So you just kind of line up and win, and they got a bunch of big, tough physical guys at every position, and it's tough to win against them. So it's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be a Big Ten game in November, and we got to do the best job we can against a really good team.
Obviously, it's been a while since you've played them, but you put up good numbers offensively in 18 and 19. Does that matter at all? Like, are there things that you can take from that, or is the personnel different enough?
Yeah, some of it maybe, but both years they did a good job at making adjustments to some of the things we did. I've watched some tape and some other people running some of the things that we've run in those 2 years and trying to duplicate it. And they're good coaches, and they've come up with answers for those things. So it's not like you can recreate a blueprint.
It looks like their linebackers are sort of the heart of the Wisconsin defense. Is there anything about them that jumps out at you that's impressive?
Yeah, they're tough. They do a good job. They use their inside backers and outside backers in the pass rush. They bring 4 from different places and 5 sometimes from different places, and all of them run and hit. Everybody runs the ball and hits, and corners and safeties and linebackers and D-line alike. So you got to get a hat on everybody, and at the end of the day, you just got to win on on your share of plays, and you got to be able to try to block them.
What's it been like having Ron Brown back at practice? Obviously, a guy you worked with for many years before, but seeing him back in a position coach role, how's he kind of gotten back on and done that role?
Yeah, didn't get to hear him at practice at all before. Now I get to hear the voice again. It kind of takes me back. I hope I have that much energy when I'm his age. He's certainly aged well and taken care of himself and brings a lot of energy to everything he does.
Is there anything that could be true about your offense in the last 2 weeks of the season that maybe weren't true in the first 10? Like, is there something that can maybe be freed up now that I'm sure it's just your voice and you're kind of have a hand over everything?
I don't know, Sam. We're going to try to get the guys in the best plays we can. One thing about the last 2 weeks, we're playing 2 really good defenses in the last week. We played a lot of really good defenses already. I think the offense has done some things really well, especially considering the type of competition we've played. Obviously, we got to score more points and just enough points to get over the hump in some of these games. These last 2 weeks will be really a challenge on both sides of the ball, but with the 2 defenses we're playing, we're going to have to try to be sound and execute.
Is there anything you want to explore about tempo, or do you feel like you guys found the right tempo?
Both these 2 games, I don't know if tempo is the answer completely. I think opponents are averaging 58 snaps against Wisconsin. So we certainly don't want to go 3 and out fast and give the ball back to them and have them grind it on us. So it's more important to try to be in smart things and the right things.
Scott, how much different, maybe it's not, is your individual job a little different right now because of the, I mean, you're in the midst of some hirings, getting ready for two tough defenses and two tough teams and recruiting?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. And that's, making moves in the middle of the season certainly isn't something I want to do. I care about those four guys so much. But I thought it was important that we kind of got a head start on looking for some of the people to fill those roles as we go forward. So we got that going on right now. We're certainly recruiting right now, taking a look at transfer portal right now, and trying to game plan for two really good teams. So there's a lot going on. But I got good people around me, and we're getting through it. And right now our focus is on Wisconsin. Any extra time I get is devoted to those other two things, but we're doing everything we can to get the players ready for this one.
Does it remind you at all of what you went through at the tail end of your time at UCF?
Maybe a little. That was a different circumstance. This is a bunch of guys that rallying together and want the players to do the same. We got to rally together and do the absolute best job we can in these last two games, try to give ourselves a chance to win. And any free time I have, I can get a jump start on later. But right now our focus is on the here and now, and that's playing a really good team on Saturday.
Who do you lean on with help on the game planning side of it with your offensive staff, and how is that different than the previous 10 games?
Well, Coach Beckton's really good, and he's been a huge part of what we've been doing for 6 years, just like all the guys have. Steve Cooper and Stephen DeMeo both have been around the offense a lot and have a lot of really good ideas. They're both going to be fine coaches, so they've been a huge part of it as well.
On game day, do those guys sort of fill in the roles that the guys that they're replacing had, or are the skill sets a little different in terms of who's up high and who's on the sideline?
Yeah, Steve Cooper will be up. He's full-time, so he'll be up in the box and in my ear. And Stephen DeMeo is off the field, so he's on a listen only in the box. Everything else kind of stays the same. I think we'll have Coach Brown down and Coach Verducci down. And we got to try to piece it together, but we got a good enough team to get ourselves in the right place for Saturday.
Is this a situation where you hire an offensive coordinator and then let it fall into place from there?
Yeah, I think, like I said, we're focused on Wisconsin, but at night when I'm working on this, I think the most important piece is the coordinator. And there's certainly some ideas in other places, but that's the piece that's probably got to fall into place first.
Did you elevate any of those coaches to go on the road this last weekend for recruiting?
Yeah, we did. All the guys that were made full-time went out on the road. Yeah.
You brought in Chase Contreras to handle the kicking duties the past 2 weeks, and he had some struggles against Ohio State. So what's sort of the kicking situation look like for Wisconsin?
Yeah, I felt bad for Chase because I think I saw him miss 3 kicks in 3 weeks, and a couple of them were in that game. He's been doing a really good job. He's a confident kid, so we'll put him back out there and let him do his thing and try to make situational decisions as we go.
That specialist piece is kind of a mystery, isn't it? Like, are there things you can do, given the nature of what those guys go through, to give them confidence or to face in their stroke?
Yeah, it's funny. I talked to Coach Dawson about it and a couple of the guys on staff, and everywhere I've been as a coach and they've been as a coach, the advice you get is don't say a word to the specialists. It's just they haven't had a great year, and certainly some of it we weren't expecting at all. But they're great kids, and I'm sure they'll rebound. Sometimes, as a golfer or a baseball player, you go through a slump, and we've had a couple guys in a slump, and it's hurt us. But I don't think there's anything I can say necessarily to get their psychology where it needs to be. I don't think that's really the issue. I just think we've struggled a little bit.
Do you have a chance to get Deontay Williams back this week, and do you still think?
Yeah, he's progressing well, so he's got a good chance.
Does it surprise you that a kid like Allen for Wisconsin, 17-year-old kid, reclassified, is doing what he's doing so far?
It's impressive. I tell you, he doesn't look like a 17-year-old when you watch him. He looks like he's been in college for a long time. certainly helps that he's got a really good line in front of him and a lot of good players around him. But doing the things he's doing, it's hard to do as a 22-year-old, let alone a 17, 18-year-old. So we got our work cut out with him, and I'm sure he'll be a good player in the league for a long time.
What will your running back position look like this week after Ramir Johnson? Do you have an idea of kind of what you want to do? We saw Step back on the field. We've seen Yant. I mean, where do you take that now?
It's probably going to be a combination of those guys, and there's some reps to be had right now. Ramir certainly done a good job. I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Marvin or Step got an opportunity this week, and maybe some other guys. So we'll have to piece it together, and I'm excited though. Some of those guys have been doing great in practice, and hopefully when they get their chance, they'll grab it with both hands.
Is there value in seeing young guys on either side of the ball? I mean, obviously balanced with the need to try to win these games, but guys that you haven't been able to see and getting them some reps before you get into the offseason?
Yeah, if the situation's right, I'd like to see some guys. But again, the priority is on doing our best to give ourselves a chance to win these last two.
Now that JoJo made his announcement, what can you say about his career here and what he's meant to the program?
Yeah, he's been great. JoJo's been a huge part. He's been a leader for us. Really seen him develop over the time that I've been here and play at a really high level and also do everything right in the locker room and off the field. So really appreciative of JoJo for how much he's poured into this program.
Savion wasn't around on Saturday. You said that was a family thing. Do you expect to have him?
No, I don't expect him back.
Just to the program or this week?
Probably either one.
Did he go in the transfer portal?
I don't know if he has yet.
Anything else for Coach?
Does that surprise you?
You know, I love all these kids. I love Sev. Not everybody can play, and this is the way college football is going to be. So I'll certainly bend over backwards to try to help anybody that's been here and does things the right way. And we're going to lose some, we're going to get some back. That's the way it's going to be every year.
Coach, there's trophies on the line. Obviously, the guys were talking about playing for pride, but they also talked about how important it would be to beat one of these two teams that you haven't yet. How big of a deal is it to win a trophy game?
It's a big deal to me. Certainly sounds like it's a big deal to the players, and I know it will be. Expect these guys to come out and band together and play even harder than we have before. Appreciate it.
Coach?